We are back. Sam Seder on the Majority Report on the phone. It is a pleasure to welcome to the program Cinzia Arruzza. She is a professor of philosophy at the New School and writing in the Jacobin, The Dangers of Anti-Trumpism. Silvio Berlusconi's tenure as Italian prime minister shows how not to resist an authoritarian demagogue. Welcome to the program, Cinzia.
Thank you.
So your piece, your piece is in some respects a direct response to a piece written by Luigi, and I'm going to destroy his last name, Zingaleznov.
Zingales, yes.
I did destroy his last name, but in the New York Times. Before we get to your critique of that piece, give us the rundown of Silvio Berlusconi's a compare and contrast, if you will, and then we'll move into that piece and the sort of, I guess, the one sort of false assumption or misinterpretation that it makes, at least at the beginning. But compare and contrast for us, Berlusconi and Trump. Why is Berlusconi so such an appropriate example for us?
Okay, so actually, I think that the analogies and the similarities are mostly aesthetic, in the sense that, like Trump, Berlusconi also legitimized a form of political incorrectness as a political discourse. So he used sexist and racist language without any problems. He used to make very gross jokes, and he also had this kind of kitschy aesthetics, so showing off his wealth. And something similar in the form of communication that both Trump and Berlusconi adopted is the fact that they both insisted on their inexperience with the political establishment, so on the fact that they are not part of the old political establishment, but rather come from business, and that their experience and their success as businessmen is actually what qualifies them to lead the country successfully. So there was also this element of anti-establishment propaganda, let's say, that Berlusconi was mobilizing. But there are also very significant differences. First of all, of course, the Italian parliamentary system works in a very different way, because we have a different electoral law and a plurality of parties. And also Berlusconi, when he decided to enter the political scene in 1994, he actually, first of all, built a party, something that Trump didn't do. So he built a new party using the infrastructure of his companies, of his business empire, as the basis for the new national party. And also, Berlusconi had a very different foreign politics, in the sense that, like Trump, he was a friend of Putin, but he was also not an isolationist. He didn't challenge, for example, the European Union, at least not until 2011. And finally, the final analogy, of course, has to do with the fact that both of them, of course, mobilize a form of right-wing populist and authoritarian discourse. So this is certainly similar between the two of them. But I'm suspicious about making predictions about what Trump will actually do based on Berlusconi's experience, because again, the differences are relevant.
Right. I mean, in terms of as you've laid out, there are some aesthetic similarities. In terms of like a political agenda, I guess that remains to be seen. But there's clearly, give me your sense. You've touched on this, and I'm becoming, more and more convinced that there's a huge authoritarian element. Not just in those individuals, or at least within Trump and perhaps Berlusconi, but also in the people who were attracted to voting for those individuals. I mean, where along that spectrum would you put Berlusconi and Trump in terms of just that almost quasi-psychological character.
Yeah, so I think that, like in the case of Trump voters, I think there is an heterogeneity, a variety of motivations that push people to vote for them. And of course, there is part of the voters that who are actually attracted by the figure of the strong man who can fix things, basically, who can arrive and find the solution. And by the way, like Trump, actually Berlusconi did ally with the neo-fascist right. So his government in 1994 was the first government in the history of the Italian Republic where a neo-fascist party, so the evolution of a neo-fascist party took part in the government. So he was also responsible for basically legitimizing the presence of neo-fascists in government. So clearly there was this element and this idea that the successful, and also this sort of maybe of phantasmatic identification in the successful businessman who can have as many women as he wishes, and so on. So this did play a role, but I think there were also other factors that played a significant role in the vote for Berlusconi, as they play a significant role in the vote for Trump.
Yes,